Hey folks, and welcome to the latest installment of Dave's Impressions. This time around, Worlds of Ultima, the Savage Empire. These impressions were taken from playing the game for around 2 hours. Enjoy! When I first sat down to play Ultima 4 back in 2008, I marveled how in the intro of the game, the avatar leans against a tree and you're told to spend time reading the manual. Manuals used to be a very important part of the video game experience. I would read about the world I was about to enter and what I could do within it. It would flare up my imagination at the possibilities. Savage Empire is a bit of the land that time forgot. Different tribes of pre-agrarian humans hunt and fight each other in this jungle valley, each with their own customs. The manual told me there were dinosaurs, lizard men, insect men, automatons, and even magic, using the skulls of different creatures in tandem with specialized herbs. Looking at the map, I marveled at how big the world was and how much there was to explore. The manual had done its job. In 2018, one has to keep their expectations of an RPG from 1990 in check. Even so, I don't know whether any game was able to fully deliver on what the manual promised. Maybe that's why they stopped being important. My first hour of Savage Empire was learning not only what the game was, but how to do anything in it. Talking to NPCs, keywords are written in red. Typing these in will give you additional information. It makes you wonder which random villager might have that extra piece of knowledge you need. I did have to look online to figure out how to move things around my inventory, and I do need to talk about the copy protection. It's one of those, answer this question that's on page 6 of the manual deals. Unfortunately, if you don't type in exactly what the game wants, it boots you out. It took me 3 tries to start playing, grumble grumble. Your characters eat food while they sleep, so you always need to be carrying some. You can only carry so much, and to move things around takes a lot of step-by-step clicking and typing item amounts. It seems obvious, but it didn't occur to me that carrying around giant pots would be a lot heavier than just bags. This step-by-step process in Savage Empire makes me think of the streamlining of adventure games. They went from text parsers to a verb sheet, and then over time the verbs were combined more and more until now most adventure games have a left click and a right click for look and interact. I think I'm the type of player who prefers the streamlining process. I found Savage Empire cumbersome. Now an argument for verbs in this level of interaction is it allows for more emergent narrative, stories that occur from playing the game. The developers have programmed in responses for players experimenting with certain combinations of verbs and items. For me, it gets in the way of the actual story and experience. I'm not trying to be harsh on Savage Empire, it is a game of its time. Talking to a friend of Aila who has been taken by another tribe, you find out about the tale of Aloro. Long ago, he united the tribes by playing a drum on a sacred hill. He gained each tribe's blessing by performing a task for their chieftain. I laughed a lot at this story. It's as if a giant neon sign had appeared above with the words, "This is what the game is about," on it. With this knowledge, I went around and started recruiting party members. They certainly made combat more interesting, if only because sometimes a giant lizard would chase Professor Rafkin and allow the Avatar and Triola to wail on it. Near the end, I entered a village and found a boomerang and a stegosaurus shield. The idea of the boomerang, a weapon that would return back to me, put a huge smile on my face. And who doesn't think that having a shield made of stegosaurus blades isn't badass? Around this time, food management started to rear its ugly head as a problem. Not that I had trouble finding food, but I noticed how traveling between villages took 1 to 2 rests. Now my stacks of food were no longer as plentiful with so many mouths to feed. I think it was this realization that balancing food among the party would be of the greatest concern moving forward that led me to not want to continue. And I was about to go rescue a chieftain's daughter from a giant gorilla. Thanks for watching. Oh boy, where do I start with this one? I actually really enjoyed my time with Savage Empire once I was able to get around the cumbersome interactions with everything, and once I found out what to do, I found talking to townsfolk and using the keywords quite engaging actually. Plus, as I said in the scripted part of the video, the manual just set my imagination ablaze. And even learning that the Myrmideks were the insect men, and that them encroaching on the humans was going to be part of the plot of the game and the main plot, which is why you need to unite all the clans. I find that very interesting. Also, the idea that I'd be collecting party members, as it were, so I'd have this ragtag bunch of characters roaming around, which led to the fear about not being able to feed them all. And I did wonder how varied the world actually is, because at least in my time with the game, I only walked around small jungle areas, although I did cross 2 giant cliffs on rickety bridges, which I found quite beautiful. Even with the art style of the time, I'm always impressed by how older games use their limitations to express certain ideas. And yeah, even with this tiled kind of over-the-top omniscient viewpoint and the simplistic landscape, I found it quite thrilling, to be honest. Now, the reason I'm playing Worlds of Ultima the Savage Empire is because a friend of mine during my Masters recommended Martian Dreams to me, but he said that the Savage Empire was great as well. He had a lot of positive things to say about the Worlds of Ultima 2 spin-off games. So next time I dive into my backlog, which I'm going to try and make a more regular occurrence, I will be playing Martian Dreams, so look forward to that. As always, if you want to show me some love, please like the video, please comment and tell me what you think. Also, if you have any memories of playing Savage Empire for yourself, I'd love to hear about them. Please share the video with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I hope you're all having a wonderful day.